Good morning and buongiorno from Italy. I'm in Florence, Italy right now and super excited to come on live. I've been in Italy now for almost 4 days and I came from Warsaw, Poland before and I'm here for a friend's wedding on our season of living in Europe. I'm super excited to be here. And I continue to work with clients. I continue to be active in my programs and with my one-on-one clients. And there is a theme that is coming up a lot lately that I'd love to address today. And it's basically the dynamic of how we deal with growing in a relationship. And I've talked so many times about how to make changes in your relationship with alcohol when you are partnered up, right? When you have a boyfriend or a husband or a fiance and you want to make these changes. And I have a lot of different podcast episodes about this. We have a lot of different videos about this. So I actually want to talk about a slightly different nuance here. Not just about what to do when you want to change your relationship with alcohol with a partner, but what to do when you want to make growth and a different vision for your future a reality and your partner's not quite on board. And the thing is that this is something that literally every partnership will face. Because here's the thing. We get married at a certain age or we get partnered up at a certain age. And there's this idea that we fell in love with a certain version of that person, right? We fell in love with a version of them at that age. But our whole purpose in life is to grow. Our whole purpose in life is to evolve. And so as we evolve as humans, it's going to be inevitable that our partners will be evolving too in some shape or format. And what often happens is that one person evolves a little faster than the other. And maybe you are in a position where you're feeling that in your relationship, where all of a sudden health, wellness, personal growth, maybe launching a business, just some kind of new pursuit is becoming more important to you and something that you're valuing more, and your partner's still doing the old thing, the same old thing, right? And this is so typical in relationships. And I'm happy to share some personal stories about me and my own partner, but can feel really trying when you're going through that because there's this huge fear that they are never going to get the memo, that they are not going to get on board, that you're going this way and they're going that way. And I know how scary that fear can be because oftentimes we love our partners. We want to be with them. We love them so much. We married them or we got together with them for a reason. And so the answer is not necessarily to allow the growth to separate you. But here's the thing. This is often what I see keeping a lot of women stuck. They want to grow. They want to change. They want to pursue something new. They want to pursue a new vision. And they try to talk their partners into it. They try to explain it to their partners and have their partners change with them. And I've seen this obviously in alcohol, right? We expect our partners to take a break with us or to stop drinking with us. But I see it in other ways too, right? I see it in other ways that maybe we want to do personal growth and we want them to do it too. Like maybe we want them to get a coach. I remember I was so obsessed for the longest time with my partner getting a coach. I was like, well, I'm doing coaching and it's making me so much happier and this is so amazing and you have all this stuff going on too. Why don't you get a coach, right? It didn't work very well. And so whatever it is that we're into, whatever it is that we're expanding into, it's so natural for our desire for wanting our partners to experience it with us. We want our partners to grow with us, right? And let's just say that you might be a little ahead sometimes. You might be making changes and having epiphanies about where you want your life to go and how you want to whether have alcohol in it or not, or where you want to live, or what kind of career you have. Maybe you're a little ahead. And how do you manage in a relationship? Well, first of all, I want to tell you, if you feel like you're making a change, if you feel like you're expanding your vision, if you feel like you're getting new creative ideas, you are most likely the visionary in the relationship. And that's perfectly okay. The visionary in the relationship builds the story. They build the vision. They help their partner see what's possible in a new way, right? Sometimes our partners can't see the vision. They can't believe in the new future. All they see is what they have today, right? And because you are starting this journey of personal growth and wellness, you can see further than they can. You can see a future that's better and healthier, and maybe you don't work anymore for corporations and you travel. I mean, whatever it is that you dream of, you can see it, but they can't. And now here's the kicker. Here's where so many people get stuck. They think that if I could just explain it to my partner, they'll finally get on board. So if I could just explain, how much I don't want to them to drink or whatever, it is, they'll get on board. If I could just explain how amazing it would be if we decided to move to Colorado, they would get on board. But our partners can't see the future. Our partners can't see anything except for right what's in front of them, which is the daily status quo. And so the trap that we get into is that we expect our partners to be able to see our visions. We expect them to get on board, but they can't see what we see in our heads. And the best way for you to move forward while you're growing in a relationship is to actually move forward with action. So if you, for example, want to change your relationship with alcohol, you can't talk your partner into changing theirs too. I mean, maybe some relationships will have that ability, but most people need a lot of autonomy to change. Most people need to decide on their own that they want to change. So if you want to stop drinking, but your partner's drinking, you can't just say, hey, let's both stop drinking. I bet they won't react very well to that. You could try. I mean, what they will respond to is not the words that you say. It's the action steps you will take. So imagine that one person in one scenario says to their partner, hey, I want to stop drinking, let's stop drinking tomorrow. And the partner's like, what? And imagine in another scenario that someone decides to take a break from alcohol. And they go a month, 2 months, 3 months without alcohol, and they start to feel amazing. They start to get this energy back that they've never had before. They get a radiance for life again. They start getting back into these old hobbies that they used to be into. They start painting again, and they start getting the courage to want to launch a business. Which one do you think is going to pique your partner's interest more? Which one are they going to notice? Which one are they going to finally believe in? What vision? They can't see the vision in your head. They can't see the words that you say. They can only see it in real life. And so we need to not be scared to make strides forward in our personal growth, that we're going to leave our partners behind, or that our partners won't relate to us, or that we're going to drift apart. We need to have the faith and believe that the only way that we can keep the growth constant in the relationship is if you move forward, and that your forward movement actually influences them to come too, right? And that it's probably going to be like that for your whole relationship, where you move, and then slowly but surely over many, many months, they move a little bit. And then you move, and then they move a little bit. We can't just tell them to move, though. It doesn't often work like that. They say that men hate to be coached. And if you identify as having a relationship with a man, you might also agree, right? Like, men really hate being told sometimes what to do. And so our actions literally can speak louder than words. And I've noticed in so many different relationships how one person took the leap of faith first, and then their partner watched them. Their partner watched them. They saw what they were experiencing, and it finally started to nudge them into a different forward action as well, right? So I've seen many partnerships where someone changes their relationship with alcohol and takes a break, and a year later, the other partner decides to do it too. And it took that whole year of them needing to see the first person go first. And it was influencing them slowly but surely over that time. And sometimes we need to have the patience that that's what's really happening, right? And it could be also that you have bigger visions about what you want to do with your life. Maybe you want to launch a business. Maybe you really want to launch a business and quit your job. But obviously that's a really big discussion to be had with your partner. And when you bring it up with your partner, all your partner can see is the financial reality. All they can see is the fear of what if it doesn't work and we don't have enough money to pay our bills. They can't see the vision, right? It is your job to hold space for the vision for them by showing them with action, right? And so, for example, let's just talk about alcohol first, and then I'll talk about moving to Europe. But when I changed my relationship with alcohol, my husband and I drank quite often together. We drank probably every 4 days a week together, like all around the weekend. Sushi night, dinner night, date night, movie night, pool day, friend night, game night, you name it, right? It was the way we hung out. If we weren't drinking together, I was usually upstairs and he was downstairs. So, like, that was the main way we related to each other. And obviously, I was scared when I took a break from alcohol that we wouldn't connect, we wouldn't have our quality time as much. And yet, I didn't give the benefit of the doubt to realize that we could actually connect better over time. And what started happening is we started getting a little bit more creative how we spent time together. Instead of just resorting to opening up a bottle of wine and putting a movie on, we actually started to get out of the box a little. And maybe you've read my book or you've heard it in another podcast, but we actually signed up for a half marathon together. And we started training together on our date nights. We started running together. And I remember this as one of the most happiest memories ever of our relationship because we were literally like running 6, 7 miles at a time and just like sitting there and chatting. We were running and chatting that whole time. Not every time, but it was such a more fun way of spending Friday nights together. We also really got into board games together, right? So we started to, discover new board games. He got really into it. He is a board game aficionado. But it was like a new way of like relating to each other and having fun. We started getting outdoors more. We really started talking more and relating to each other better because we had to get creative and kind of out of our shell. And what happened with his drinking, right? So like I said, we drank probably a lot together. And as I'm not drinking, he starts to realize that he actually doesn't enjoy drinking by himself. And so slowly but surely over time, he starts drinking a lot less. I didn't have to tell him to. I didn't have to recommend it to him. I didn't have to say anything necessarily. He got to make his own decisions, but he arrived at the conclusion that he actually doesn't really like how alcohol makes him feel either, right? Now, is he completely alcohol free? No, I don't need him to be. He does drink occasionally when he's out socializing. But he sees alcohol for what it really is, and he doesn't really always enjoy it, and he's pretty honest about that, right? And he is 100% supportive of this business, and he loves what we do here. I don't need him to be the exact version of me in his format, though, right? Like I remember when I was younger, I wished that I was in a relationship with someone who loved literature because I was really into literature. And I was like, my husband doesn't really like literature. Are we really compatible? And it was so silly of me to think that because I'm the one who loves literature. I don't need to be with another person who loves literature. That's my thing. If I was with someone else who loved literature, he would steal part of my identity with it, right? So I'm perfectly okay with being the alcohol-free one, and whether or not he chooses to drink occasionally, it doesn't bother me. Now, obviously, my husband did start drinking a lot less. So it's not like he is isolating himself with alcohol anymore. But literally, I had to have the faith that it would work out in our relationship, that me making a change would influence him. Now, here's the next way that a huge change happened. So not the next way. There's been lots of changes, but I'm here living in Europe this season. It's been the hugest dream of mine to do that. And I launched my business a few years ago and then quit my own job. But the thing that was still kind of keeping me tied down is that my husband had a job. And so we couldn't really travel together. I would travel a lot more by myself without him because he had obviously the constraints of having a job. And I was like, you know what? I really, really want to have no constraints. I really want to live wherever we live. I want to travel. I want to just do whatever we want. I want to have so much more freedom. And this vision I had of him quitting his job and traveling the world with me, it was a big freaking vision, right? And I would talk to him about it and talk to him about it. And as long as we were kind of dreaming, it was fun. But as soon as I started really planning it and saying, okay, you have to quit your job by this date, and now I'm going to buy the tickets, we started fighting a little bit because it was really uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable for him to have to face some fears about what happens if I quit my job and what are we going to do about healthcare and, what about the war in Ukraine? Like all of these things started happening and coming up that were fears. And it literally started creating a rift with us. And I didn't give up. There was part of me that was just like, oh, screw it. Maybe we should just scrap this trip, not have him quit his job, just keep on doing what we're doing. But I was like, no, the vision is there. There's a bigger reality out there for us. I believe in it so much. But he couldn't believe in it yet because it was my vision. All he could see what was in front of him, right? He couldn't see the vision. And my words weren't enough to convince him of the vision. And so I kept him moving forward and I kept, showing him how every single time we take a leap of faith, it works out for us. And so eventually I got him to Europe and, he quit his job and we're here. And his mind has completely expanded of what he believes is possible now. Now, not only does he not want to go back home and get another job, he wants to literally be this limitless forever and find a way to make that happen. He also sees us not only doing this for the season, he sees us moving here for more long term. Like all of a sudden, me showing him what was possible, not telling him what was possible, but showing him what was possible is the thing that finally made the light bulb go off. And now he is in this world of his own of epiphanies and having a great time and seeing more possibilities and creative solutions out there in the world. But it's so difficult because unless we act, unless we make the changes we want in our own lives, our partners probably won't understand because it's hard to understand with words. It's hard to understand with just conversation. And so I think I see the biggest mistake people making is waiting for their words to hit their partner's ears instead of their actions. So if there is something you want to do, if you want to stop drinking, for example, if you want to take a break, if you want to go alcohol free for the long term, if you want to change careers, if you want to do something different, you can't wait for the words to hit your partner. You have to take action in the next step. And there is going to be something that happens that elevates the consciousness level of your relationship when you do that. And there's this beautiful theory that sometimes we do things for people's comfort levels. Like, I won't do this because it's going to make that person uncomfortable. When we don't realize that we're not here in relationship with other people to meet them at their comfort level. We're here to meet them at their level of their soul. And the level of the soul is what's doing best for your highest self and the highest version of the relationship, not just the petty comfort level of that day, right? And so, yes, I asked my husband to quit his job, and yes, we moved to Europe, but guess what? He wasn't happy in his past career. And I knew it was time for us to make a change. And I knew that at the level of the soul, I was doing the best thing possible for our marriage and our relationship and our life together. But at the level of his comfort, it wasn't very comfortable. It was very uncomfortable to ask those things, right? And so at the level of their comfort, nobody wants to necessarily change their relationship with alcohol because alcohol is our number one comfort zone. But in the level of our soul, we all do. We all do, right? So you have to be comfortable with taking action forward. Your growth is the only thing you're responsible for. And the best way for actually helping someone grow too is by leading through example. I trust you. Trust me, people, relationships, partners are so influenced by each other. They are so influenced by each other. And so the things we say don't often work the best. But the things that we do have a way of slowly changing the subconscious of someone else. And you have to have faith that that's what's happening. You have to have faith. I like to use this example of what happens if you wanted to go back and get your master's degree, but you wanted your partner to go back and do it with you. Isn't that kind of ridiculous to say, I want to go get a master's of public health. You have to go do it with me too. And I won't enroll unless you do it with me. It sounds really codependent. It sounds like just laughable. And yet, is that what we're doing when we want to make a personal growth change, but we're waiting for our partners to get on board? Isn't that the same logic? You have to work on your personal growth first. You want to take a leap of faith and launch a business? Go for it. You want to live somewhere differently? Start dreaming up that vision with your partner and making some kind of a plan. You want to change your relationship with alcohol? Take a break now. And see what happens if you going alcohol free for a year to your partner's relationship with alcohol. Things will change, I promise you. But you have to take the action first yourself. And have faith that that's how growth works in a relationship. That you move forward, you move the relationship forward, you're the visionary, and your partner's coming. They are. And I promise you, it's 95 out of 100 times, that's how relationships work. And only in very small percentages of times is there really this separation that is just not coming closer together. And oftentimes, the clarity that we get around those kind of situations can help us to make the best decisions forward. Don't stay stuck because you're playing for the comfort level of your partner. You have to grow. You have to go after what you want. You have to be the visionary in the relationship. Thank you so much for joining, and ciao from Florence, Italy. I'll see you next week. I will be in the Italian Dolomites then. And until then, have a lovely day.